President Trump is set to meet Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House today as global markets react to Trump's tariffs.
Thousands of people across the country took to the streets on Saturday to protest the Trump administration's policies. Their message? Hands off our democracy.
And on a lighter note, some took to the streets to celebrate their Scottish pride. We'll take you to the New York City Tartan Day Parade, dogs in kilts, and more. Now on CJS News. Good afternoon, and welcome to CJS News. I'm Jayla Everett.
And I'm Augustina Malus. Here are our top stories. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is meeting with President Trump at the White House. That meeting happening right now in the Oval Office. They're expected to discuss the war in Gaza and tariffs. Stocks are still reeling across the globe. U.S. markets have been up and down all day. All of this after President Trump announced a slew of tariffs last week. For Americans watching their retirement funds drop, the tariffs are worrisome. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick says American markets will do well over the medium and long term. Many foreign-produced goods like cars could soon see price increases despite President Trump telling automakers not to pass on the rising costs of car parts. And President Trump has already started negotiations with leaders around the world.
And those tariffs have come in, and every country's called us.
China has announced counter tariffs of 34%, and other nations could follow suit. The president says he isn't worried about the sell-off on Wall Street, adding that, quote, "Sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something."
Hundreds of thousands of Americans protested the tariffs and many other Trump policies this weekend. CJS reporter Mason Leith was at the hands-off demonstration in Manhattan. He joins us from a Tesla dealership where there was a recent protest. Mason?
Yes, exactly, Jayla. As you can see, we are outside of the Tesla dealership in downtown New York. And as you know, Tesla is the brainchild of Doge administrator Elon Musk. And on Saturday, thousands of New Yorkers took to the streets of Midtown Manhattan to protest not only Doge's downsizing of the federal government, but also the Trump administration writ large.
Thousands of New Yorkers took to the streets of Midtown Manhattan on Saturday, expressing anger and resentment towards President Trump and his policies. The protest was reportedly one of over 1,200 hands-off demonstrations across the country.
Today's demonstration across America is to show the world that Americans, as you can see, are ready to fight. And this is only the first of what has to be a massive fight.
Nationwide, the protest drew more than 500,000 people, from civil rights organizations to labor unions, veterans, and just regular constituents.
I am protesting Elon Musk's influence in this government and Trump's idea that running for president is a business move.
Hey, Elon! Hey, fascists!
We can take our country back to be American, which is spreading love throughout the entire country, not hate, not division, not tariffs, not weapons, not fucking killing children, not ripping families apart.
The demonstrations are said to be the largest mass mobilization since Trump took power, with more protests planned later this month.
Yes, Jayla, we caught up as well with the organization's leaders who said that this is just the tip of a bigger demonstration network that is soon to come. On the West Side, Mason Leith for CJS News.
Thank you, Mason. New York City's mayoral race is heating up. Mayor Adams, who was elected as a Democrat, says he will instead run for re-election as an independent, now that the legal trouble he was facing is over. Mayor Adams' corruption case was dismissed last week. A federal judge granted the Justice Department's request to drop the charges, which included bribery, campaign finance, and conspiracy offenses. The charges were dismissed with prejudice, meaning Adams cannot be retried. Adams said the case dragged on too long and made it impossible for him to mount a primary campaign.
But I'm not a quitter. I'm a New Yorker. And that is why today, although I am still a Democrat, I am announcing that I will forego the Democratic primary for mayor and appeal directly to all New Yorkers as an independent candidate in the general election.
New York's Democratic primary is scheduled for June 24th.
Columbia's neonatal unit was bracing for a significant budget cut until a group of Good Samaritans stepped in to help. CJS reporter Fiona Sullivan is live at Columbia University Medical Center in Washington Heights. Fiona?
Augustina, doctors who care for premature babies heard some difficult news. They were supposed to present their research findings at a conference, but lost funding to travel there. Thankfully, help arrived.
Inside this hospital lies one of the busiest NICUs in the city. 75 beds for preemies, and they're almost always full. Doctors and fellows care for the babies and also try to solve some of the biggest health problems they face.
So they look at the different types of infections that can occur in the NICU.
Dr. Tina Leone says her research fellows were supposed to present their findings at the Pediatric Academic Societies Conference this month. But President Trump's cuts to the NIH slashed the NICU budget, and with it, the money for sending 8 researchers to that national conference. It was a tough blow.
The spark for starting new types of projects may be less if they don't get the experience of presenting and meeting other researchers in their field and, learning about what other people are doing outside of here. All of those things go into, creating a new career as a young physician and young potential researcher.
So Dr. Leone organized a GoFundMe to send the medical fellows to the conference. Last week, they met their goal of $8,000.
So we tried to raise the money, mainly from our faculty and our graduates, were the majority of people who contributed to the GoFundMe. And they were very generous.
Dr. Leone says there could be more funding cuts on the horizon. Mental health resources for doctors are potentially on the chopping block. And in a high-stress environment like this one, that's not good news. Reporting live from Washington Heights, Fiona Sullivan, CJS News.
Governor Hochul wants to make it harder to wear masks at protests. The idea is sparking considerable debate. Supporters of a mask restriction say they don't want protesters wearing masks to hide from law enforcement or to feel empowered to be menacing or anti-Semitic. The mask restriction gained traction after masked demonstrations at Columbia. Protesters say they offered masks to protect themselves from being doxxed, and critics warn that a public mask ban could be selectively enforced and give police another reason to stop Black and brown people. Lawmakers in Albany are debating the proposal this week. Under Hochul's plan, protesters would be allowed to mask up for medical, religious, and weather-related reasons. Jayla?
And now for a special series we're calling On the Vertical. Stories we tell on social media and right here, from your cell phone to the screen.
As CJS social media reporter Brianna Dennehy tells us, Governor Hochul wants to ban cell phones in schools. You might be surprised who supports the idea. Brianna?
Augustina, we talked to one student who wants cell phones banned, and she took her strong opinions all the way to the top.
High school junior Juliet Weisvogel says she's on her phone too much. She's hoping a new state law will force her to put it away when she's in school.
I went out to lunch with my friends and we were all just stuck staring at our screens. It wasn't something that I wanted every day, and it wasn't something that I wanted for younger generations.
Juliet spoke about her concerns with Governor Hochul and published an opinion piece in the Daily News supporting the governor's bell-to-bell smartphone ban, which would prohibit students from using their phones all day. Now, state lawmakers are debating whether to impose the ban. Some teachers are all for it.
It's giving everybody the opportunity to connect. The bell-to-bell ban isn't discounting, it's including.
But other educators worry that the ban poses a liability.
Collecting, storing, and inventorying 1,300 devices, some of whom are valued upwards of $500, is not only an enormous liability for the school system, but it creates a whole nother structure.
The ban is expected to go into effect on August 1st if approved.
Brianna, what are parents thinking about this right now? Do they have any concerns about not being able to reach their children's cell phones during the school day?
Yes, so many parents are definitely concerned that they won't be able to reach their kids during these emergency situations. But Governor Hochul insists that it's actually better that students don't have their phones, so that way they can focus on emergency protocols.
Thanks, Brianna.
Composting is now mandatory in the city under a new law. Reporter Isabella Japal shows us how to steer clear of fines and help the environment.
New York City is stepping up its composting game. As of April 1st, property owners will be fined for not composting. Supers and landlords are asking their tenants to separate their food and plant scraps. That means vegetables and fruits, yard waste, meat, bones, shells, dairy, and cooked foods. To begin composting, dump all food and plant scraps in a plastic bin no larger than 55 gallons. Bins can be ordered off bins.nyc. Bins can be left curbside to be picked up on recycling days or dropped off at smart composting bins or drop-off sites, which are located all over the city. If you don't compost, property owners can be hit with fines ranging from $25 to $100 for buildings with 1 to 8 units and $100 to $300 for buildings with 9 or more units. New Yorkers can report property owners failing to compost to 311.
Isabella, is the sanitation department experiencing any backlash over this new law?
Great question, Augustina, because supers and landlords alike are pretty angry about this. So they've complained that composting makes extra work for building supers and can also lead to unsanitary working conditions for supers who are sorting through trash.
Thanks, Isabella. Make sure to follow our social media for more videos like these. Augie?
Ever wonder what would bring bagpipes and dogs in kilts to New York City? Over the weekend, it was Tartan Day. We sent CJS News reporter Alex Foster to see how a parade brought a taste of Scotland to the Big Apple.
Well, guys, even though the weather threatens to put a stop to it, New Yorkers and Scots alike have turned out in full force for Tartan Day, a special celebration of all things Scottish culture in New York City.
The parade you see here is the big finale to Tartan Week, which sees whiskey tasting, dog shows, and bagpipe concerts play all around town. Signed into law by President George W. Bush in 2008, the Tartan Day in New York City is the biggest celebration of Scottish American culture in the country. And with famous faces like actor Alan Cumming, Scottish First Minister John Swinney, and these dogs taking part, what are attendees looking forward to this year round?
Fellowship, community, and fun. It's a great day to be Scottish, and it's a great day to be in New York City.
That was Father Matthew Sanfilippo, who's marching in honour of his Scottish grandparents.
I come every year and I'm very proud in honour of my Scottish heritage.
Others have come here to get a taste of Scotland in the melting pot of the Big Apple.
I love to be here. I feel like it's a great opportunity to celebrate different heritage, and I love seeing the bands, and we love just marching and seeing all the people.
It's not the only day that celebrates national diasporas in New York City. Over 1 year, the city hosts more than 60 parades, celebrating India Day, Greek Independence Day, and the famous Columbus Day Parade, which pays homage to the city's Italian Americans. But for today, it's kilts, bagpipes, and tartan for America's Scots. And you never know who you might meet.
I'm excited to see hot Scottish men in skirts and, kilts. And yeah, hopefully I marry one, you know?
For CJS News, I'm Alex Foster.
For my fellow college basketball fans out there, how's your bracket looking?
Well, if you had the University of Connecticut Huskies taking home the 12th national title in women's basketball, I'd say you're looking pretty good. Yesterday, UConn claimed the women's NCAA title, defeating the defending champions, the South Carolina Gamecocks. This victory was a sweet redemption for the Huskies after their last face-off with the Gamecocks in 2022.
For the Huskies, this is their 12th national championship, the most in women's college basketball history. Augie, did you watch the game?
I did watch the game, and you know, I was stuck in an apartment with a roommate who graduated from UConn, so I felt like I was kind of forced to root for them, but it ended up being great. I mean, they performed great, and I'm proud of them.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in the Gamecocks, but what can you do? Anyways, tonight the men's final basketball game is going on where the Houston Cougars will face off against the Florida Gators. That's all for today.
Thanks for watching CJS News. See you next time.